going on, everyone? So if you're wondering why I'm sitting here all banged up and got my arm in a sling, if you've seen my last video where I was changing the oil on my dirt bike, I said I was going riding, and yeah, I went riding the next day, and it was a sad day for the 150. But I felt good on the bike. There was about 10 of us and went on like a hard enduro ride, our basic loop, and then after that we ended up going to a new spot I've never been before, and I felt amazing on the bike. Everything was going really well, and maybe about 5 minutes before the ride ended, I ended up catching a rock that was sticking out of the ground, and it flipped me over. It actually flipped the whole bike up in an endo, and I landed directly on between my neck and my shoulder, and I broke my collarbone. The bike landed on top of me, and it was just a mess, and it was a mess for everybody else. But I just wanted to show you the damage that happened to the bike, and I'm pretty sad about it, but let's go through it. So as you can see, my KTM front fender snapped. I can salvage this plate because I know why that's off, but it really sucks because these graphics right here were actually for the Husky fender, and I actually had to cut and trim them immensely to get them to fit. I flipped them upside down. It looks like it goes on this fender, but they absolutely don't line up with this fender at all. I had to trim them a lot and flip them upside down and make them go backwards just to get it to work, but it looked good. But now I don't know what I'm gonna do because I got these graphics from Europe, and I'm not buying a whole nother set of graphics unless I can snap a picture and somebody can make them for me, kind of like that. But yeah, there's some damage there. Got on the top of my cylinder, my master cylinder for the clutch, and I can't tell if the handlebars are bent, but you know, I haven't really been I'm just standing up and getting out, so I've been down for about 2 weeks now. But the worst part of it all, the dreadful thing of the fucking Husqvarnas is cracking the subframe. I'm pissed about it. Even my new back fender, I just replaced his back fender. But the only plus thing about that being cracked there is I'm gonna try to epoxy it because it's not a high stress point. It's just basically right on the tail. Yeah, it's basically just right on the tail. So I'm gonna try to epoxy that. It's better than it having it be down here at a high stress point where all your weight is getting transferred down to. So I'm gonna epoxy that just so I can get back on and race whenever they decide to open up the state again. And that's pretty much all the damage that I've seen. One thing that I will give KTM and Husqvarna is the redesign of the radiator guards. People go and buy those bulletproof radiator guards like right off the bat, and they don't even give these a try. I'm not gonna say if you drop it right on a rock it's gonna hold anything, because it's not, but these are really sturdy radiator guards. They're really thick plastic as far as side impacts, and I've dropped this bike so many times. I've ghost ridden it, I've dropped it on rocks, I've crashed into people, I've crashed into trees head on with this bike, and knock on wood, my radiators are straight and nothing's bent so far. I don't know, I just think they definitely did a good job on them compared to the old style. But you know, another thing I just want to say is I know broken collarbones are something that is common, especially in dirt bike riding, and if you guys want to know how to keep your collarbone in place to heal back in place, it depends how it breaks, but luckily for me, mine was just it was a clean break. But actually it wasn't a clean break. There's like a chunk missing in the back, but it didn't break going up. It's not protruding up, it wasn't protruding back, wasn't protruding down. It's just cracked right here. And I don't know what this bone is here, but there is a where your collarbone ends, it attaches to something else that attaches to your shoulder. It broke right there at the tip. And basically my problem was that I was having is, if I'm laying down flat in my bed, the bone goes back into place, like it goes flat. So my collarbone felt completely flat, and it was nice. But the minute I got up to go to the bathroom, to go get something to eat, whatever it may have been, the bone would pop back out because my arm, now some weight was coming on my arm, and you know, I was putting stress on that, and the bone would pop back out and I would have that bump there. So I asked the doctor, I said, what can I do to heal my collarbone in place? And basically he told me, you can't do anything, it just heals how it heals, and you're probably gonna have a bump there. And I thought about that for a minute. I said, well, if I could just keep it in place somehow with like some kind of a vise, or you can't put a vise in your shoulder, but I'm like, you know, there's got to be something out there to keep pressure on it from popping out. You don't realize how many muscles you use, like just doing the simplest things, like getting up out of bed and whatnot. So I said to the doctor, I said, I have one of those posture correct things to correct your posture, and I think it would work. The strap will go right over my collarbone, right where the break is, and keep it in place. He's like, no, you can't do that, it'll hurt, and this and that and the other thing. He was a younger doctor, so I'm like, okay. But I knew I was gonna do it anyways because I'm, you know, boneheaded. So I came home, I found my little brace thing, and I put it on. And granted, I had to tighten it really, really tight. And another important thing is the brace, the arm sling, you have to keep that tightened up as high as you can, because you can't let your arm sag down. You gotta keep your shoulder up, and then keep this as tight as you can. And so far I've been using this is my second day, and my bone hasn't popped back out yet. So when I'm laying down, I loosen up the straps because it is uncomfortable, it's super tight. I'll loosen my sling strap, and I'll loosen up these straps, and so that they you know, I could breathe a little bit. But as soon as I have to get up, go to the bathroom, get something to eat, whatever I have to do, I make sure I put these super tight, and I put the sling strap super tight, make sure my arm is elevated and lifted and not hanging low. You don't want it to hang low, you want your shoulders to be up. And like I said, knock on wood, my collarbone popped back into place. It hasn't come back out yet, so I'm gonna hope for the best, and hopefully when it heals in place, and I won't have that stupid lump that everybody has. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, is to have that lump, because what people don't realize is when your collarbone heals like that, it's basically, I can't use two hands, but basically your collarbone's healing on top of the other bone, and you actually lose centimeters or millimeters off of your reach, off of how much mobility you have, how much you can stretch, because now your bone is shortened. And I don't want my bone to be shortened, so I wanted to heal as best as I could, but without having surgery, because I wasn't a good candidate for surgery, unfortunately, because of the way it broke. It wasn't like a bad break. So I don't know, hopefully this guy's it's helped you out. If anybody breaks a collarbone, look into this. They actually make something called a figure eight that is supposed to be for collarbone breaks, to keep it in place. But apparently my doctor didn't know that. So doctors don't know everything, and it's basically the same design as this. But again, it was a sad day for the 150. Stay tuned, guys. As soon as I'm better, I plan on having some new content coming out, and some good things, hopefully, to get some more, squeeze a little bit more power out of this 150. And I'm gonna order some parts and get this thing back and running, because as soon as this arm gets better, and as soon as they open up the states again, I'm hoping to get back and get racing. All right, guys, see you in the next one.